BMW is the best. I mean, I love my BMW. They don't have the best reputation sometimes, but these engines, the BMW N52, the BMW M30 Inline-6, and the B58, all are some of my favorites of all time. Each of them has something special, and I'm going to share 5 of the best BMW engines ever created. But before we get into it, let's talk about some honorable mentions. First, we have the Alpina automobiles, for example. These beauties use engines based on the BMW N55. We can't forget the S62, a legendary beast found in the 1998-2003 E39 M5. All right, let's get into it. In 5th place, we have the N52. It was the last naturally aspirated inline-6 BMW that was made before they went all in on turbocharged and direct injection route. It was the last naturally aspirated inline-6 BMW made before they went all in on the turbocharged and direct injection route. This engine had a certain charm, a rawness that only naturally aspirated engines can deliver. It was a mix of old-school reliability with a splash of modern tech for its time. Sure, the N52 had its fair share of issues, like that lifter tick that could be as annoying as a squeaky door hinge, and it also had its famous oil leaks, but come on, it's a BMW from the mid-2000s. Oil leaks are just part of the ownership experience. It's like a badge of honor for BMW enthusiasts. But even with these quirks, the N52 was a workhorse that kept going when others stumbled. What made this engine great, but it wasn't perfection, it was the fact that it performed well in an era when BMW was experimenting heavily with new technologies. While the N54 was out there showing off with twin turbos and other engines were trying to find their footing, the N52 held the line with dependable performance. The naturally aspirated inline-6 delivered a smooth power band and a driving experience that was pure BMW. No turbo lag, no fancy tricks, just solid engineering and a car that responded exactly how you wanted it to when you stepped on the gas. Number 4, the B48 engine. This turbocharged workhorse has been pulling its weight in everything from Minis to the Toyota Supra. The B48 first hit the streets in 2014, replacing the N20 and N26. BMW took everything they learned from those engines and created a real powerhouse. You've got a twin-scroll turbo that spools up like it's got somewhere important to be, paired with direct injection for precise fuel delivery. And I mean, don't even get me started on that closed-deck design. It's like a fortress around those cylinders, giving it durability that other engines can only dream of. It's a lightweight setup too, thanks to that all-aluminum block and head, making sure this baby not only puts out power, but keeps handling sharp. And look, I get it. You hear inline-4 and think it's just for commuting, but the B48 has been a key player in some serious performers. Whether it's in a Mini Cooper, a 3 Series, or even the Toyota Supra 2.0, this engine delivers punchy acceleration and agility. BMW didn't just slap a turbo on a commuter engine, they engineered something with a broad torque band, peaking around 1,750 RPM. So when you hit the gas, it feels like the car just woke up and chose violence, but in the best way possible. This isn't just an engine you live with, it's one you grow with. A simple ECU tune can push power gains that'll have you grinning ear to ear. And with aftermarket upgrades, the potential is there to hit numbers that you'd only expect from much bigger engines. Over 400 horsepower with a few mods, and the beauty of it all, it does it without breaking a sweat. The B48 is like that friend who's always ready for more, whether it's on a track day or just a spirited drive on some back roads. The updates over the years have only made it better. In 2018, BMW rolled out a technical update that brought a forged crankshaft, separating cooling circuits, and an upgraded fuel system straight from their motorsport lineup. Number 3, the BMW B58. The B58 is a masterclass in versatility. BMW has dropped this engine into all sorts of cars, from sports coupes like the M240i to heavyweights like the X7 xDrive 40i. It's like a Swiss Army knife of engines, fitting perfectly no matter what it's powering. Whether you're in a sporty little number or a big SUV, the B58 makes everything feel just right. That's the kind of engineering that doesn't just happen by accident, it's deliberate, it's tested, and it's just plain immersive. And let's talk about power, because the engine doesn't just deliver numbers, it delivers an experience. On paper, the B58 cranks out 382 horsepower, but the way it pulls makes it feel like there's way more than that under the hood. It's got that endless surge of torque, and when you hit the gas, it's like the car knows what you want to do before you do. No lag, no hesitation, just pure, seamless power. Whether you're merging onto the highway or taking a tight corner, it gives you that thrill without breaking a sweat. The power alone, it's not what makes the B58 special. What really sets it apart is how refined it is. You'd think that an engine that pulls this hard might be rough around the edges, but the B58 is all about smoothness. It's like BMW figured out how to take all of the punch and aggression of a performance engine and wrap it in a layer of silky comfort. Even when you're pushing it to the limit, it never loses that sense of sophistication. It's that balance of brute force and finesse that makes the engine truly exceptional. Oh, and the sound. Oh man, the sound. It's got this classic straight-six growl, but with a modern twist. It's not just noise, it's character. It gives you that visceral feeling that reminds you why we love cars in the first place. It's the kind of sound that makes you want to drop the windows just to hear it bounce off the buildings as you drive by. All right, now let's get practical for a second. One of the best things about the B58 is that it doesn't only just show up in those high-end, out-of-reach models. You can find it in the M240i, a car that starts under $50,000, or in the M340i, which gives you that same incredible engine in a sedan that can haul your groceries and your kids. It's performance that's actually accessible, which is pretty rare these days. Number 2, the BMW M50 engine. The M50 comes from an era when BMW was all about precision and performance. It features a double overhead cam setup, and in its later TU variant, it even got a little boost with single Vanos, BMW's variable valve timing. This addition made the engine feel more alive at lower RPMs, giving you that smooth linear power delivery that feels just right. It's a straightforward setup, but don't let the simplicity fool you. This thing can take a licking and keep on ticking, and that's what makes it a favorite among enthusiasts. Now, every car has its quirks, and the M50, it's no different. The cooling system, yeah, it's not perfect. BMW decided to use plastic components for the water pump impeller and radiator, which, let's just say it wasn't their best idea. These parts tend to crack over time, leading to some unwanted overheating issues. But here's the beauty of the M50. Once you swap out those weak links with upgraded parts, you've got an engine that's ready to keep going for hundreds of thousands of miles. And let's not forget the tuning potential here. You might think, no turbos from the factory? What's the fun in that? But the M50 is a tuner's dream. It might not have the turbocharged power of a 2JZ, but it can still hold its own, up to 600 horsepower on a stock block with the right modifications. It's affordable, available, and built like a tank. And number 1, the BMW M30 Inline 6. The M30's been around since 1968, and it didn't just last, it thrived for almost 30 years. Which is about as rare in the car world as a politician giving you a straight answer. And for good reason. Let me break it down for you. Now, the M30 is a no-frills, old-school marvel. We're talking forged rods, a cast-iron block, and a single overhead cam. Yeah, none of that overly complex stuff that leaves you scratching your head in the garage. It's as if this engine was made for the gearhead who likes their coffee black and their engines simple and solid. And simplicity is where its power lies. It's built to last, with the kind of reliability that's earned it the reputation of a bulletproof powerhouse. The thing is, BMW has been dabbling with inline-six engines way before they brought the M30 into the scene. But the M30 was the one that stuck the landing. If you were driving a BMW 5 Series or a 7 Series back in the day, chances are you had an M30 under the hood. And this engine, it wasn't just built to last a few road trips. Oh no. This beauty could handle mileage that would put modern engines to shame. We're talking about cars that could do over 200,000 miles and keep on going like they rolled out of a dealership lot. It's not flashy, but the M30 is just good old reliable muscle, and that's why it's one of the greatest. It's seen action in some of the most iconic BMW models and handled modifications like a champ. You want to add turbo? Go for it. This engine will take it on the chin and keep asking for more. Sure, it needs a little maintenance like any old classic, but that's part of the charm. Take care of it, and it'll take care of you. So I've got to ask, what do you think? Is the M30 one of the greatest, or is there another inline six that's worthy of that crown? Let me know in the comments, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.